Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. In today's video, I'll be using Spellbinders September 2023 Glimmer Hot Foil Club of the Month. It's called Sunflower Border. This month, the kit includes a beautiful sunflower image. It goes all the way across an A2 size card, plus a little extra. There's a die to cut around the top edge of that lovely sunflower image. There is a sentiment, "I'm truly grateful," plus the outline die to cut it out. The Glimmer Hot Foil Club also includes a roll of Glimmer foil. I received the polished brass color, but you may receive a different color. It is selected randomly. I love sunflowers and was so excited to see this image as part of this September club. I will be using the polished brass Glimmer foil, but for some of my cards, I'm also using the Espresso Bean Glimmer foil. I've already gone ahead and hot foiled the image. I just saved the fun part of peeling back the foil for the video. So there it is, all foiled up, beautiful image. I'll use the included outline die to cut out the image. To hold the die in place, I'm using Spellbinders Best Ever Craft Tape. This is the 5/8 inch width. I'll line it up around the top and sides, and you can see it won't cut out the bottom portion of the image. I will be trimming down this piece so it fits on an A2 size card. I found it easier to hot foil on a larger piece of paper just to make sure I didn't miss any areas. This is an 8.5 by 11 inch paper cut in half, so 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. I also hot foiled on some beautiful white shimmer cardstock. So my card will have lots of shimmer and shine. Since I don't color images, I thought I would try a different technique. I'm doing some ink smushing. I'm using some Distress Oxide inks. The first one is Fossilized Amber. Thought this would be perfect for the sunflower petals. I pressed some ink onto a mini stencil mat, spritzed it with water, and I'm using some leftover plastic from stamp packaging. I'll fold it so I have a smaller piece, press it into my watery ink, and then smush it onto the sunflower. It'll create this very loosely colored image. For the center of the sunflower, I'm using the ground espresso ink color. I'll do the same thing. I have a new piece of plastic packaging, fold it up nice and small since I'm only doing the center of the 4 sunflowers. The final ink color I'm using is Bundled Sage, and I'll use this color on all of the leaves. It's a very light green color. I think it works well with the pretty yellow and brown I use for the sunflower. When using a shimmer or pearlescent cardstock, I find that the end colors do lighten up more. And for this card, I think the lighter colors work out well, especially with the polished brass Glimmer foil. I'm focusing just on the leaves, not the stems of the sunflowers. Once the ink starts to soak in, if I notice there's an area that needs a little bit more, I'll go back and add some more ink. Now I'll set that panel aside to dry. For the background of my card, I'm using some green tone-on-tone gingham paper. This is from a retired Honeybee Stamps paper pad. Once my image is dry, I'll put some foam dimension on the back just behind the top area of the sunflower panel. I'm using some thin foam dimension strips from Honeybee Stamps. At the bottom of this panel, I'm putting some double-sided adhesive tape. I'll remove the release paper, and I'll also add a little bit of glue on the back side, even over the area where the double-sided adhesive tape is. The panel is slightly warped because I did the ink smushing. Having the extra adhesive will help to make sure it lays nice and flat on the card. For the sentiment, I used the Espresso Bean Glimmer foil. I'll be adding it in the upper left-hand corner. For a little extra interest, I'll be adding some pretty cotton cord underneath the sentiment. This lovely green, and it has gold threads throughout. I cut 3 small pieces, just wide enough to peek out behind the sentiment. I'll put a glue dot on the back of the sentiment, add all 3 of the cord pieces. Then with my fingers, I'll gently unravel both sides of the cord. This cord is sold at Spellbinders. It's the Vivant brand. And I will add a link in the description box if you want to check it out. Since the cotton cord does add a little bit of dimension, I'll put some foam dimension above and below it on the back of the sentiment. And just to make sure the cord stays in place, I'm also putting a small piece of double-sided adhesive tape. I'll remove the release paper and also add a few drops of Barely Art glue. Then I'll adhere it in the upper left-hand corner above the beautiful sunflower images. So there is my finished card. I made two using the same pattern paper and ink colors. I also made a pink sunflower card using the same ink smooshing technique. For the background, I used a light teal tone-on-tone gingham pattern paper, and I also added some clear enamel dots. I have two more cards following this same design. I used the Espresso Bean Glimmer foil for both of the cards, and they were colored by my daughter. She's 13 and she loves coloring images, but she's not enjoying the card making as much, so she colored the images for me and I finished off the cards. For one of the cards, she went with traditional sunflower colors, and the other she wanted to do a monochromatic in blue. I think she did an amazing job, so I wanted to share the cards here with you. I absolutely love the traditional yellow sunflowers that she colored. For my second card design, I hot foiled on some yellow watercolor looking pattern paper. I used the Espresso Bean Glimmer foil. I'll cut out just a portion of the sunflower image using Spellbinders Notch Corner Frames die set. Using the next size up frame, I cut it out from some brown cardstock and I'll layer the two pieces together. Now I'll flip it over, put some thin foam dimension on the back side. I'm using Spellbinders Black Foam Square Mix. This is the 1 millimeter thickness. The foam is also available in white, but since I have the dark brown cardstock layer, I'm using the black color. For the background of my card, I'm using this lovely brown plaid paper. This is from Scrapbook.com's Cozy Autumn paper pad. I'll layer it on the same dark brown cardstock, put ATG tape on the back, and add my card front onto a card base. Now I'll add the beautiful sunflower image, more on the left side of the card. I'm using the same I'm Truly Grateful sentiment. It's always good to have some extra thank you cards on hand. I use the Espresso Bean Glimmer foil. Using the sentiment die, I cut out a second piece, and I'll adhere the two together, creating a drop shadow of brown cardstock underneath the sentiment. I'll adhere it in the upper right hand corner. Since the very right side of the sentiment will go off of the frame die cut, I'll first add some small foam dimension pieces. Then I'll put glue on the left side of the sentiment and adhere it in place. For a final finishing touch, I'm adding some of Spellbinders Dimensional Dots. This is the clear color. I'll put 3 around the sentiment in the upper right hand corner and 2 in the lower left hand corner. So there is my finished card, and I really like how this turned out. Even though I didn't do any coloring, I think the sunflowers still stand out with the yellow pattern paper in the background. Now here's another look at the 6 cards I made using Spellbinders September 2023 Glimmer Hot Foil Club of the Month. It's called Sunflower Border. If you are interested in subscribing to any of Spellbinders Club kits, I do have links provided in the description box below. Subscriptions are open for new subscribers starting on the 6th of the month through the 27th. But many months the club kits do sell out. So if you are interested, I would suggest not waiting. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.